But yeah, this. Oh, I was so mad, and then all these guys on Twitter are talking. I'm just like, they're like, I'm like, oh, fuck. Hell, high school football players know about this shit.
Right.
I mean, no crap. I feel like you're playing scared if you're afraid to run into a base defense.
Well, they say scared money don't make no money.
That's right. That's right.
Scared money don't make no money, baby. So at the end of the day,
I do have a couple good questions from YouTube that got dropped. I'll give them ahead of you so that you might think about it on when we record the second episode about it.
Okay.
One guy says, seeing that Moss and Taylor have two different types of running styles, do you use different blocking schemes for specific type backs, right? Is it more beneficial for one type of blocking scheme is more beneficial for a power power back as opposed to like a scat back or something of that nature, which I think is a good question. And then another one said, I'm interested to hear how much, this is a great question, how much verbal communication happens on the line compared to how much of it is just knowing where to block beforehand, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question for people too. So,
mm-hmm.
And then of course I've got a million things, and then obviously you can talk about whatever it is you like to talk about in that episode, obviously.
Yeah.
Again, and I've said this a million times, and I'll say it a million more, especially with you, so that you never forget. Don't ever feel like you're talking too much, or be afraid to interrupt me if you feel like, hey, you got something in your head, you don't want to forget about it, and you say, hey, can I put a word in here? Feel free, talk as you will. It's like two guys just having a conversation. All right.
Yeah.
Don't ever feel like you're breaking a rhythm or something of that nature.
I got you.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I'm not afraid to just butt in and talk, and it's not because I feel like I'm better than you. It's just because that's my personality. You know what I'm saying? And I want the same back from you. So this is great. All right, man. Let me see here. So the first episode. Mad. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about the running and the blocking and stuff. I'm just going to make a point of it. I'm going to leave most of that stuff for the second episode so that people can get into that, because I'm hoping that episode will go big, because we don't get a lot of pull on the NFL episodes yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically because mostly Colts people watch, but I feel like the more it seems like every week when we do these NFL episodes, a few more people will show up, and
100%. It's going to keep growing, especially if we do it. So like the second one after this one, where I really share insight on offensive line play and break it down to where people don't understand, and now break it down so you can understand it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be like, people are like, holy shit, like let's listen to this.
Absolutely. So, all right, I'm going to go put this. I don't know why I just lit that. Fucking chain. Always chain smoking. I just got done recording the damn all 22 so I can make a film room when I get done here. I'll get our first episode out immediately, and then I'm going to break down the film on obviously I'm going to go with the offense tonight. I think the defense did okay. There was some mess ups, but we'll get into that in a minute.
I mean, listen, 37 points is not okay.
No, it's not. But neither is your offense giving the ball over into the opponent's territory 4 times.
Yeah, how many? I mean, 3 interceptions
and a fumble by the quarterback. 4 turnovers by the quarterback.
Oh my gosh! All right, yeah. Let's go ahead and get into it.
All right, let's get in. All right, let me find the intro, and 3, 2, 1.
Hi everybody, I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Donald Thomas. And today we are going to go over that, oh my goodness, that awful game that all of us Colts fans watched. Literally from the second drive of the game, Colts fans were just like, oh, this game's over. Already. I mean, you can see it. You know, it was like something was wrong. There was something not right. It just didn't feel right from the get-go, right? I mean, it was just not good from what I saw. And then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse throughout the game. But Donald, what is your initial reaction after watching what unfolded on Sunday afternoon?
It was painful to watch, you know, like the only time that I knew that we were in it was when I was watching, you know, the national anthem, right? You know, like out the gate, you know, Jacksonville scored so fast. Colts were so stagnant on offense. Defense was, you know, a step behind, you know, basically the whole game, in my opinion, but definitely those first few possessions. It just was rough, man. It was like I said, I don't know if it's some type of curse that Jacksonville has on Indy, especially in Jacksonville. But it just was one of those games where it was just like doomed from the start. And it was painful. Everything that could have went wrong. You know, and there's so much I could go on a tangent about, and we're going to get into that. But, you know, from up front to, you know, the backfield to defense to secondary to up front again on the defensive side of the ball to linebacking play, it just wasn't up to par. It just wasn't Colts football that they've shown these previous weeks. It was almost a step back. It was almost a step back. It was a step back. It was a step back in the progress that they've made this season. They got everybody so hyped up about them, and now everybody's kind of like, oh, here we go again.
Right, exactly. All right, before we get into this, I just want to remind everybody that BetOnline is still your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, NFL, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. Now, to me, it all started right from the get-go. Okay, first off, the Colts won the flip, and Steichen decided to receive rather than defer. That was an interesting, you don't see that very often. And when asked later, he's just like, it's a gut feeling, right? It was something that he decided he wanted to go out there, score first, hopefully get a touchdown, get the lead, be in a position to play the game that you want to play. That was basically what he said on why he deferred. Now, what's the preference at this point? You know, most coaches seem to defer rather than take the football, and Coach Steichen took it. Is there an issue there? Do you like or dislike that decision?
So I've been a part of both, right? I've been a part of both, and it really comes down to how juiced up I got my guys during the week. If we feel like we can really jump on top of some guys, you know, a team early, we want to win, we want to get the ball, and we want to set the tone for the game on offense. Coach is going to tell us during the week, like, hey, we win the toss, we're taking the ball. And he'll usually tell us that either the night before the game or in the locker room before we go out. And it's kind of like, all right, well, our mind's right. Like, you know, offense, we're up. You know, like, we're going to get the ball. We're going to drive down the field. We feel confident. We're going to jump on top of them. The defense will stall them. And then, you know, even playing field after that, we punch them in the mouth first. There's also the, you know, like, we win the toss, we're going to defer because we know this team is a team that we're probably going to really need to have the ball in the second half to start things off because we might be in a dogfight. And so, you know, if you take the ball first, you're telling the other team, like, I'm setting the tone. I don't care about the second half. We're going to be up. You're going to be chasing us the whole game. This is your opportunity to try to get back in the game second half. But we're separating ourselves in the first half. And so for the offense to come out and stall like that, in the first drive, like, come on, man. We moved it, and here's the deal. They moved the ball. They were moving the ball like 5-yard passes, quick passes. Everybody was juiced up. And then it came to, all right, well, where's the run game at? Like, where are we going to mix that in? Yeah, Jonathan Taylor spread out. And Zach Moss isn't on the field. Then it's Bob, and I'm like, what are we doing? Then all of a sudden it's third, and I'm like, here we go. And, punt. And it's just like, and then, literally Jacksonville scores in a blink of an eye, right? They came out, and this is exactly why you want to give them the ball first. Well, excuse my language, but damn it, like, if you're going to take the ball first, you better be doing the same thing. And it was one of those things where I feel like, from a standpoint of, a head coach that doesn't have that tenure or that, that catalog or resume behind him, every decision he makes is going to be questioned. It just is what it is. Because if you had, another coach that was seasoned and you had trust in him and his players really believed in what he was saying, you would know too, like, as a coach, you got to know, hey, my team's not ready to take the ball opening possession if we win the toss. I would much rather have my defense out there. Let's get a feel for what they're doing. I could go over here, kind of rah-rah my offense up a little bit, get them ready to go. Hopefully my defense can hold. We get good field position. We drive. We can get 3 points out of the first drive, right? As opposed to you take the ball, I'm getting 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not turning the ball over. I'm not going 3 and out. I'm not turning the ball over on downs. I'm not punting. Like, what is that? I might as well just rely on my defense, put some trust in my defense to hold up and get some decent field position if that's the case, and just defer and get the ball in the second half. So it was questionable from the beginning, in my opinion. And overall, it was just really frustrating. Just a very frustrating game.
So the way the game started out, Colts went down the field, kicked a field goal, I think, right? And then the Jacksonville went down, scored. Touchdown really quick, like you said. Then the Colts turned the football over almost immediately, and then they scored immediately. Colts found themselves down 14-3 with with more than 10 minutes left in the second quarter, right? But they're down 14-3. Now, you and I both probably looking at this going, why haven't we ran the ball? Now, granted, the Colts only had the ball so much, one drive in the first quarter and then, a couple snaps in the second at this point. At this point, they're down 14-3. Still plenty of time left in the first half. One thing you talk about, there was no running game. Now, we're not going to dive too much into the running game a little bit because I do want to talk about this in the next episode that we record. We'll get into a lot of the running and answering questions about stuff like that because I feel like there's a lot of content there that we can put out. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that, or because it'll be out at least by the next day. But so the Colts are down, about 10 minutes left in the first half, and Steichen's like, "Oh, they're running 7, 8, 9-man boxes, so we didn't run, plus we were down." And my thought process is, it's so early in the game at this point. Being down 11 points isn't that big of a deal. It's definitely not big enough deal to pull away from a game plan of running the football, because the best way to move the football down the field and score is, and always has been and always will be, a balanced attack. Run the football, pass the ball, keep the defense guessing what you're going to do so they can't key up on one specific thing. Am I off track with that thought process?
No. Listen, you just paid a man $14 million a year. You just paid a man $14 million a year into the season. And you're down 14-3 with an eternity to go.
Mm-hmm.
Your run game is non-existent because you haven't even attempted to run the football. Your $14 million man is lined up at receiver. Your backup, that arguably was the top 3 running backs for the first few weeks of the season, is on the sideline, or now you have him in the slot. You're not even attempting to run the football. And every time they were in the backfield, they're leaking out for a pass. It's not a run. And so it just leads me to believe, I'm like, what is going on? because I feel like, from a standpoint, this is my opinion, okay? But I've seen it before. I've been around for a while. They don't want to upset anybody. I feel like the coaching staff is scared to upset Jonathan Taylor. And they're also scared to upset Zach. And so we're running into a problem here where it's like, well, I won't give Jonathan the ball any more than I'll give Zach the ball because I don't want to get anybody upset. No, we're here to win football games. If this guy's got the hot hand, if this is basketball, and my three-point shooter's got the hot hand, and he's leading the league in three-point percentage, and the starter comes back off of an injury or for whatever reason, I'm not putting my hot hand on the bench to get this guy warmed up, and now we lose a football game. It does, or a basketball game. It doesn't work that way. Like, you're a professional, we'll work you in, right? We have a pretty decent upper echelon running game, and now we just ran away from it. And now we want to throw the football, and now we're getting turnovers. I mean, like, Gardner he threw the one, he dropped it.
There should have been like 6 interceptions in that game.
The very next play, he throws it right back. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And it's still the second quarter, and now we're deserting the running game still. No running. I mean, if you look at it, Zach Moss, 21 yards on 7 carries. Jonathan Taylor, 19 yards on 8 carries. We have 44 yards total rushing. Previous weeks, we were cracking over close to 200 yards.
55 pass attempts, 15 run attempts. That's nuts. Now, I get the Colts were down, but we were down early. We had time. We had time to come back. We had to control the football and not turn it over. The best way to do that is to run the daggone football, right?
Your best defense is a good offense.
Exactly.
I can get 4 yards a clip running the football. I'm taking time off the clock. And it's not fourth quarter and I'm down 14-3. This is the second quarter and I'm down 14-3. So I'm like, listen, everybody over there is getting paid. Everybody is a human being. Everyone's going to make a decision what they thought that was best for the team at that time. 100% understand that. But at the end of the day, you just paid a man $14 million and he has 8 carries for 19 yards.
Yeah.
And your number one rusher has 21 yards on 7 carries. And it wasn't even late in the game. You want to talk about guys in the box. 7 in the box is standard.
Yeah.
7 in the box is standard. And we're still throwing the football 95% of the time. Like, I don't understand what's going on.
I don't see how people say 7 in the box is a loaded box. It's
in the box
is a base defense, right?
A 4-3 defense, a 3-4 defense is 7 in the box.
Yes.
When it's 6 in the box, that's nickel, and they're playing for the pass. And you can get runs all day on that. 7 in the box is what we're trained to block. Yeah. There's only one free guy. We're running away from him. He's got to make a play. It's usually a guy on the backside. And we're out the front door. Or we're coming back to the backside, and that guy's got to make a play, or it's a trickery play where we're out the back door. But there's no, 8 in the box is different.
Yes. At that point, you need a tight end, some help, and, some way of scheming up the blocking in order to, seal that extra guy off through the wash. I don't know what your verbiage is for that, but I always call it the wash, right? Where all the bodies are mangled together at the line of scrimmage or whatnot. But I've always learned that from playing football. Coaches always like, look, there's a way to seal off guys through that wash, and we can do that, especially if we've got good offensive linemen that know what they're doing, right?
Right.
And from what I understood, from what I was seeing all year, our offensive line's been pretty decent this year, right? They've been creating some holes and stuff. So, and we got the 3rd best running back plus the guy, like you keep saying, $14 million a year, a guy who led the NFL in rushing and touchdowns just 2 years ago, right? Stick with it. I mean, That is literally, it is quite possibly, arguably our best position on our team. And we completely took them out of the game. Completely took them out of the game. And that was completely upsetting to me throughout the whole. I was just screaming at the whole game. I was so mad. Well, let's flip over to the defense real quick.
Yeah.
Because you talked about it before. 37 points is not good. All right.
No.
Now, we could talk all day about 37 points. 17 of those were off turnovers. Defense still had to give them up, but 17 of them were off turnovers. And and Jacksonville had 4 times they started an inside the Indianapolis Colts 40-yard line. 4 times, twice inside the 30. All right. That's putting your defense in a really bad spot, right?
Yeah.
You can defend 70 yards. It's really tough to defend 30. You know,
Yep.
Very, very tough.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, you're asking a defense that have 2 rookie corners who are still learning literally a lot of the stuff from the NFL. Because I'm watching, look, I love Juju Brents. Love him. I think he plays with an intensity. He plays physical. Love that. I'm seeing him get caught out of position multiple times. Seeing him miss guys running through his zone multiple times. And that is a problem. And I think that has a lot to do with, inexperience in the NFL, playing in the NFL. So, because, offenses, defenses are a lot more complicated than they were in college. But, man, it was difficult to watch Jacksonville score so often on this Colts team.
Well, when you lack experience in the secondary, it's. I mean, you look across the board and you really look at, who's back there, who's starting off. You got 2 rookie corners, right? You got, your safeties are inexperienced. Kenny Moore, in my opinion, has got to be the guy that's got to be the leader out there when it comes to the DBs, to that secondary, and step up and try to make plays and just teach guys and mentor guys. And that's when it comes into even if we had veteran guys that didn't play, but their main job is during the week is to coach these guys up. Because when I was playing, I would always see okay, so for example, real quick in Miami, we had Vontae Davis, right, and we had Sean Smith. We drafted 2 rookie corners, but we had veteran guys that had been playing in the league for 7-8 years that they weren't even starting, but they were coaching and mentoring those guys, right, so that they could be good players and make plays on Sunday. I feel like we're lacking that. Kenny Moore's got to step up and coach these guys better. I'm not saying he's not doing it, right? And I can't say that he's not doing it at all because I'm not there, right? But what I'm saying is it just can't be the position coach coaching them because they really look out of place sometimes, like you said, because lack of experience. And granted, if the best coaches, in my opinion, is a player that's played that position. Mm-hmm. They can teach a guy instinctual things that he's got to see and know, right, and be able to read those things as opposed to, a guy that just was a quality control guy and then he got bumped up here and now he's coaching DBs, never played DB before. He probably played line or, running back in high school. You know what I'm saying? And now you don't have a guy that's teaching these guys hey, when you see this or you got to feel this and you got to know how to play this route, whatever it is, we're lacking that.
We do have 3 player coaches that were Indianapolis Colts players,
right,
as coaches. We all know Reggie Wayne.
Yes.
We have assistant linebackers coach Cato June.
Yep.
We have the assistant defensive backs coach Mike Adams.
Right.
All right. So we do have a guy back there. I would love to be able to interview Mike Adams. Mike, if you ever see this, feel free, reach out. I'd love to have you on and talk to you about the defensive backs. That'd be a great thing for everybody. In all honesty, we'd like to know a little bit about what you think about each and then, styles and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it is worrisome because there isn't a lot of veteran leadership. and that's a lot to put on Kenny's shoulders, right? As a just by himself, because he's the only guy that's got more than 2 years experience in the defensive back room. Well,
right.
I mean, I take that back. Julian Blackman, he's got 3, but he's the safety on the field as well. And he's missed time due to injury.
Yeah.
So, really it is on Kenny Moore's shoulders, and that's difficult. I almost think maybe we bring in, a veteran, that's still sitting out there, to kind of help.
Listen, at this point, it can't hurt.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be negative Nancy or whatever, but it can't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Guy that you can kick the tires on, 5-year guy, 6-year guy that just made some plays in the league, that's probably home because of whatever reasons. He's working out like crazy and he just needs another shot. Just someone to come in and try to like bolster this secondary a little bit, right? I don't know. It might not be a corner. It might be a safety.
Maybe.
You need a ball hawk back there that can play over the top, help these corners out so they don't feel like they're on the island all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're in a bad spot, and then your safety comes and makes a big-time play. Because, like, realistically, like, when's the last time we had a big-time safety in Indianapolis? Bob Sanders?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, Antoine Bethea.
Antoine, right? Excuse me. I was here with Antoine. And you look at the secondary when Antoine was there. Antoine controlled that secondary.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But we also had some talented corners as well. But Antoine controlled that secondary. And he made plays. Yeah. We need safeties that make plays too. And I'm not saying, it's just one position or two, because like at the end of the day, it's a team sport and it all coincides with each other. It all works together. So when you look at it from a standpoint of like DeForest, he made some plays up front early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, the guys kind of checked it in second half, in my opinion. It just wasn't like the intensity wasn't there, defensively or offensively. I'm not gonna say guys didn't fight. No one laid down. It was just too late. It was too late. I think they strayed away from the game plan on both sides of the football. Or more on offense and defense, and the defense was out there tired. And Jacksonville kind of was just doing whatever they wanted at a point. Like the foot got put on Indy's neck, and pressure got applied, and they didn't let off. And I think that just overall, when you look at it from a standpoint of urgency and how much they understand the importance of this game, Jacksonville understood the assignment more than Indy did. Jacksonville came off of 3 weeks in a row, 3 wins. They were riding high, two wins in a row across country. You're supposed to jump on top of that. These guys were just in London. They had to fly back. They got to get acclimated back to being back home. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then we're coming off of playing well, and knowing that we haven't beat Jacksonville since 2014 in Jacksonville. Like, all that plays a factor. All right, they're on their high horse. I'm going to knock them off. This is a division game. I'm going to knock them off. This is a control of the division. I'm going to knock them off. And we didn't do that. So who in the locker room is going to sit there and take control of the reins? Because clearly it's not the coaching staff that can control this team. It's not. Because
you got to have players that speaks up and when there's a problem, like obviously there was a problem with the entire team this past Sunday. You got to have players be like, all right, we're going to have a players meeting.
Yeah.
Let's go have a little conversation because we weren't out there doing our job properly.
Week 6, you don't normally see like this kind of first quarter, third of the season, a players meeting. Like, I'm not saying it's a dumpster fire, but at the end of the day, like, somebody needs to stand up and say something like, all right, hold on. Because the season's nowhere near over. This could just be a blemish on in the history books of this 2023 season. We can right the ship right now, make the playoffs, make a run, damn near go. We can control our destiny if we all play together and band together and do things the correct way.
Yeah.
Right. And guys gotta have each other's backs 100% because it looked like, in my opinion, a group of guys out there that were just playing their position. Nobody was playing off of each other. There were plays that were made, of course, and guys were jumping around and doing that. But on offense, it was stale.
Yeah.
It was stale. It was stale. And the run game was one thing that Indy's hung their hat on this year. And that, I mean, as offensive lineman, like I would have got on that bus back to the airport, and I would have been, every other word would have been beep, 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 beep. This is beep. Like, because that what? Now you don't trust me? Now you don't trust me and my brothers up front to get the job done? We've been getting it done in the past 5 weeks. Now all of a sudden, because the main bell cow comes back, and then we don't even run the ball. Put 8 in the box. We got a tight end. He's got a block too. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. There's no excuse.
Nope. All right. So I'm not going to say the defense played a horrible game. I think for the most part, I think they played decent. I mean, they only gave up 233 total yards, right?
Yeah, that's
148 yards passing. You hold a team to 148 yards passing and 85 yards rushing total, only give up 3.8 yards per play. That's a hell of a defensive game. And the thing that shows me big, that makes me think, okay, so this defense wasn't horrible. They only allowed 4 of 14 on third down efficiency.
Yeah.
4 of 14. They did good.
They got off
a few broke down plays that had issues with. I feel like, though, I can't let Gus Bradley off the hook either. I got to I love Gus Bradley. I love you talked about him too, but there's a problem where I'm seeing this. I don't know if it's because he does it so rarely, which is why it's so, when it happens, it's efficient, or if he just needs to do it a little bit more. I saw him blitz 4 times, called 4 blitzes in this game, 2 forced incompletions, a sack, and an interception. So all 4 blitzes worked.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Why didn't we do it more?
Because he doesn't trust his secondary. When you blitz, you're losing a man in pass coverage every single time. And if you don't want to get burnt, you don't send anybody. You only rely on your front four to rush the quarterback. When you blitz, you gamble. I don't think Gus is a big-time gambler. We take him to the casino. I don't think he's going to put it all on black or all on red or put, $1,000 down on blackjack in one hand. He's going to nickel and dime you. And then, he might get up a little bit and he might put 50 on the hand. He's been playing 25 the whole time. You know what I'm saying? This is the mindset that I feel like he goes into a game with. Nothing wrong with it. But at the end of the day, you see success. And you're like, all right, bet I want $100 on this hand. You're going to put another 100 down, like double up. Like, you know what I'm saying? I told you scared money don't make no money, right? But at the end of the day, he's like, all right, cool, I'm up. I'm not going to burn it all again. I'm going to play it safe again. I might lose a little bit. So his play calling just shows that he doesn't have full faith in the secondary to be one-on-one man coverage, or just, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I lose one, I know that this puts my guys in a bind because someone's going to find a hole and get open. And this is, I don't feel like he has enough confidence in linebackers dropping back in pass coverage. The DBs, the safety. It's just that. But we can talk about Gus and the defense all day, but Jacksonville had a 12th man on offense. They had a 12th man on offense, and that was Gardner Minshew. He was playing for Jacksonville on Sunday.
Yeah.
You throw 3 picks and a fumble, and it could have been more. Every Colts Nation felt comfortable with Gardner Minshew taking the reins. Did we not?
I did.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to say I'm in the streets of Indy, but I didn't hear any negative talk about Anthony being out, possibly the rest of the season, Gardner's taking over. Oh my God, it's over with. No one said that.
Everything we saw from him this year in a Colts uniform did not show. Now, we've seen this in the past from Gardner.
100%.
But this year, different team, different players, different system. We saw, so, give him the benefit of the doubt. See what he saw from him this year. He never showed any of this. He had 1 fumble all year, no interceptions all year. And then he walks into Jacksonville and stinks up the whole place.
This is why we talked earlier in the year, and if anyone's been listening to these podcasts and our shows and all of that stuff, we talked about when you show promise, you have a little bit of success at quarterback, you're always going to get that nod for the next few years. Whether it's a starting role or a quality backup role, you're going to get that nod. But you have to remember, I said it before, to play quarterback in the NFL is the hardest position in sports, period. In my opinion, you have to make so many split decisions. You have to get everyone going in the right direction. You got the whole team on your back. Sometimes I think Gardner Minshew is a good quarterback. 100%. I'm not taking that away from him. He's an NFL starting quarterback. But there's so many elements to it. So when it comes down to it, now you're the guy. Now you're thinking about way too many things. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to put the team on my back. And your decision-making gets skewed a little bit. And that's what separates the top 10 quarterbacks from everybody else is that decision-making. When you decide to throw a ball into coverage and you know good and well that it's a gamble every time you throw it or 95% of the time you throw it, you should have made that throw. You have to be real with yourself and throw the ball away or, try to run and get 3 or 4 yards and play it safe. Instead of I drop back and I throw a ball and almost picks it, right? And then I drop back the next play and throw the pick. It's bad decision making.
Yep.
And it can't because we don't have another quarterback to go in to replace you, Gardner.
No, we don't. Not right now. Not on this roster. I don't trust anyone on this roster. Kellen Mond, no. Sam Ehlinger, no.
We've already seen that experiment. We don't listen. That is last resort.
Yes, that's a. If he goes down, then we got someone who could play at least. I'm not saying he's playing well, but at least he understands the position.
Another thing too, right? Knowing we don't have another quarterback that can really go in the game, why are we having this man drop back and throw the ball so much?
55 times, right? You should be helping him by running the football.
Football with your $14 million man.
Yeah.
It's from the outside looking in, it looks crazy. I know, I was on the road this past couple of days, so I wasn't able to hear all the Colts fans chatter. But I know there's some disgruntled fans, and rightfully so. I'm disgruntled as just, this being a humble observant, which is a little bit of extra insight. But I would have, I'm not a coach. It's tough to make those decisions. I'll say that I always put an asterisk next to everything that we talk about. It's big time decisions you got to make, but it's also big time business, and you get paid the big bucks to make the right decisions.
Yep.
So it comes down to from the coaching staff all the way down to the players. Coaching's got to be better. The guys playing got to play better, and just put guys in the right positions to win football games. Right? Gardner's not a guy that's going to be thrown for 300 yards every game and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. You got to understand that. What you got from him, take it with a grain of salt. And don't try to do too much with him. Stick to the game plan. Let Zach and Jonathan Taylor run the football. Give this guy some weight lifted off his shoulders so he can go out there and just be Gardner Minshew and play Gardner Minshew football instead of him trying to fill Anthony Richardson's shoes or trying to fill some void that he can't do because that's not his skill set.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and end this episode with this one thought. I am going to give him a little bit of a pass. The head coach, Shane Steichen, this is his second year being a play caller, first year being a head coach. This is a learning experience. This is why he gets a pass. It's a learning experience for the situation he was put in. And hopefully he learns from this and is able to improve upon his play calling ability in the future because of the experience that he just went through. Right. I mean, we all learn every day, even head coaches. So I'll give him that. And I'm not giving him a full pass because I still don't see how you just run the ball 15 times. But I'm just saying, learn from it. Learn from it. Don't make the same mistake again. All right.
Yep. There you go. Lick your wounds and we got a new week and new team coming in town. Learn from it. Watch the film. Learn from it. and move on. This is a league where you have to have very short-term memory is key. If you stick and you hold on to the past, you won't progress as a coach or as a player. And it's basically from play to play. One thing you'll hear guys say is, you'll mess up like offensive line, miss a block. You get back in the huddle, you hear coach yelling at you. Someone's going to say, hey, forget about it next play. Forget about the next play because you can't harp on it because now you messed up. If you think about the last play and you got a whole nother play that you got to execute on, forget about it, right? What's done is done. This record is what it is.
Yep.
It's 0-0 record every week until it's playoff contention is out of the question. So it's 0-0. Nothing's hurt. Nothing's harmed. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, focus on this week, get a win, and move on.
Absolutely. Let muscle memory and training kick in. Don't think too much. Right?
Absolutely.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for this episode of Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Donald Thomas. And as usual, go Colts.
Go Colts.
Do you believe?
All right.
What do you think? What did you think about that one?
It was good. Went a little long.
Yeah.
About 33 minutes, 34 minutes, somewhere around in there, but it'll work. It'll work. I think we talked well. We didn't get too detailed about the running thing that
I made sure not to.
Yeah, we harped on it.
Yes.
Which is good because it needed to be harped on.
100%. I was thinking like, yo, am I crazy or are they just not running the football? And I was like, I was driving to the airport and I'm sitting there, I'm watching it as I'm driving. I'm like, I know what they're doing. They're scared to get anybody's feathers ruffled.
Now, the one thing I can say, I don't mind splitting Jonathan Taylor or Moss out wide because they can make plays in the passing game.
Yep.
But don't do it consistently. It's like on defense. You don't want to put Big Grove and move him back into coverage consistently. I mean,
yeah.
His specialty is eating blocks and getting in the backfield, not covering freaking tight ends and running backs.
Here's the thing: like if you wanted Jonathan Taylor to catch passes, then just sign a receiver,
right?
Pay him top dollar. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of wide receiver, holy crap! That catch Alec Pierce made in that game was stupid.
Yeah, but it got overshadowed by everything else.
Yeah, I know.
I like
that. Oh my! I was like, well, first off, if he doesn't catch that,
I wanted to call you when he caught that, but I'm like, you're on your live stream. I'm not gonna, but I was like,
been good. If you'd have called me, you'd have been on the phone, up against the mic, talking to you.
Because
that shit like that on my live stream, I don't.
I know. I was like, I didn't know if you don't answer your phone or what, but I was like,
I will. Yeah,
that was a good catch.
I don't care, especially in a moment like that where I'm all, I'm souped up over a catch.
I knew it. Like now, I watch the games. I'm just thinking about your reaction to certain things. Now, I'm like, I already know Lawrence is over there going nuts or banging his head against the wall or what.
Oh, I was pissed. I was pissed the whole game, dude. I don't know how many times I was like this, and I looked up at the camera. And I was like, 6 damn runs in the first half.
That is so bizarre and crazy to me. Like, I'm still trying to understand like how that is even I just don't understand that.
No, I don't either. I mean, they were playing. They were playing zone with base formation, and they were playing what looked like quarters a lot in base formation, which is weird, but they kept their base inside the box, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is an out route from a corner route from a tight end, wide freaking open every damn time. All you got to do is protect. They were showing these. Okay, no, we're going to get into this in a second, but they were showing how the tight end they'd split the tight end out. Kylan Grant would be split out wide, and a linebacker didn't go with him. It was like, no, it's 7-on-5. You don't run against that. I was like, well, bring the tight end back.
Yeah. Why are you splitting him out to not even use him?
Right.
Oh, the decoy. What is he? You know what I'm saying?
This is why we didn't run. Fucking bring him back and put him up against the line. Then it's an even fight. Oh well. All right. Let's get into this next episode. Well, I'm not taking up too much of your time. I know you gotta be jet lagged like a mug all day.
I've been up since fucking 3:40 this morning.
Oh.
I didn't go sleep till midnight. Well, really 12, 15, 30-ish.
All right. Real quick before I get into the next episode. So I'm joining Quincy Carrier tomorrow at 2. Who is he covers the Browns, right? And he's got 45,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he has a media pass with the Browns, right? He's pretty well known amongst their fan base.
Yeah.
You want me to ask him if he wants to come on as a guest Thursday at 11 in the morning, and then he could be our guest to go over the Cleveland Browns Colts game?
Yeah. So Thursday morning's gonna be tough for me.
When's the time?
It's probably gonna be like 2:00 ish.
2:00?
Yeah.
Is that a good time? Do you need to make it 3?
Well, so I have a 9 a.m. meeting I got to do, like a breakfast meeting, and then I have a noon lunch meeting. So I know 11, I'm not gonna be able to sit down and do it because.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean, so I just know the lunch meeting is not gonna be 2 hours. It'll probably be an hour and a half or so. It's local, so I know I could be home at 2. So realistically, like 2:15, I can be on for a fact.
I'll call it 2:30 just to give you a little bit of room to wiggle, right?
Okay.
And I'll offer it over to him here when we get done recording. I'll message him and let him know, because I got a lot of guys that got pretty decent YouTube channels that we kind of flip around. I've thought about doing an AFC channel where, like, because I got a guy who covers the Bills. He's got about 70,000 subscribers.
How many?
He's got 45.
How many do you have on your?
Not enough. Not like them. I've got like 3,600, 3,700, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a few. I'm in the niche where I'm not like completely invisible.
Right.
It's growing. I'm now that the season has started, I'm getting 100, 200 a week, but the more I put out, the more subscribers I will get. So,
and I'll keep posting stuff and reposting it and everything. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Definitely. And if you know guys that would be able to repost or share or something.
So, like the next time I'm gonna tell Gary on this next one, when you post it, I'm gonna send it over to him and just have him repost it.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Donald Thomas. Donald, it is Tuesday, and we just got done recording the episode about the Indianapolis Colts and their utter failures against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it got me thinking, right? A lot of question marks about running the football, right? Situational, do you run it during this time? Is it too early to run it at this time? When you fall behind, should you get away from running it? All different kinds of questions. So I went ahead and I posted it up on YouTube and Twitter. Got a couple questions I think would be great for you to bring some insight in. And then, of course, we'll just discuss a little bit about offensive line the schemes, when someone should do something, when they shouldn't do something, and all sorts of stuff, man, because that's your forte, man. And I am excited to have you here to be able to kind of, I don't squeeze the lemon and get what I can out of you on this situation. You know what I mean?
Yep. Do it, man. You know, I'm excited to give some insight from an offensive line standpoint. You know, that doesn't happen a lot. You know, and understandably so. It looks like a jumbled mess sometimes, but from my vantage point, it's like poetry in motion. And so, you know, there's questions that we're going to go over, and I'm happy to answer them. And hopefully, you know, anyone watching this that doesn't understand or know line player, kind of the thought process behind it, will leave with a better understanding of the game today.
Absolutely. And if you have a question, if you're watching this and you have a question about offensive line play and we didn't get to it, feel free, drop your question in the chat. Donald looks at those stuff too. Maybe he'll reply to it, right?
I actually do too, which is crazy. I see, you know, a couple people sometimes, you know, disagree with me. I'm like, oh man, you know, and sometimes people, you know, agree. And so whatever, like, you know, put your comments up there. I check it out. I'll respond to it, and either in the, you know, we'll chat about it there, or sometimes something might be worthy enough of us talking about it on an episode like this. So, you know, the more interaction that we have with you guys is not just a 2-man show here where we're just spewing out what we believe. It's, you know, what do you guys believe, right? No pun intended, right? So, you know, let's make this thing as interactive as possible. But this show right here is going to shed some light on the run game and hopefully offensive line play a little bit.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into some couple questions first and foremost off YouTube. Popeye 3305, great name. Says seeing that Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor have two different styles of running.
Mm-hmm.
Should you use different blocking schemes like zone for one or power gap for another or something? Is there different ways of approaching blocking for different styles of running backs?
100%. You know, just, you know, makeup of certain guys, their builds, you know, require different styles that they're good at, right? So when you look at it from a coach standpoint, when you look at Jonathan Taylor, he runs gap scheme plays well, the counters, the powers, but he's not like that super big physical back that's just going to run people over. He's more of a zone type of back where it's going to be more of inside and outside zone stretch plays that he really utilizes his speed to get around the edge of the defense, make one guy miss, the flow of the offensive line. He does a good job on reading that and hitting a hole, or just kind of sprinting out to the outside and kind of trying to get that corner and turn up the field. When you look at Zach's more, in my opinion, of like that more downhill runner, right? The one that's going to get those 3-4 hard yards with guys hanging off of him, where he does well really with the gap scheme plays and more inside the tackle runs, the traps, the powers, the inside zone, where outside zone plays, or he doesn't have that quicker step like JT has shown and has in his arsenal. So there are two different styles. There's more than two different styles of running backs, right? But in the case for the Colts, you know, they're not polar opposites, but they do have their different traits. Like, so for example, not to get off the Colts, but I just want to give an example. When I first got in the league and when I was in Miami, we had Ricky Williams and Ronnie Brown. And Ricky Williams literally was downhill power runner. Like, I remember the first time I pulled on power and during training camp, and I'm trying to hit the hole, and I just feel someone just spear me in my back. Boom. I'm like, what the heck was that? And he was like, listen, we came back, he was like, listen, you hit the hole as hard as you can and move somebody out of the way, or I'm going to run you over in the process. Right? And so, like, I quickly learned, make a decision quick, hit it. He's going to make his read, and he's going. You know, it's not a home run play. It's a 4-yard run, right? But Ronnie was more the finesse guy. Ronnie would lay a showdown to hit you, but that wasn't his first thing he wanted to do. Ronnie was going to try to finesse and find a hole and cut. He was more of a jump skip kind of guy outside zone, inside zone. That was your guy for those plays. And so I quickly learned that there are two different styles and more than one, there's different styles of running back. So we look at it from the Colts standpoint, yes, they're different. Now, there's teams that defend certain styles of runs better than others. When you look at a team like Philly, big up front, strong up front, you ain't running inside zone and gap scheme plays downhill against them as much. So that would be a game where you want to get outside and you would use Jonathan Taylor's speed to get outside the defense. Zach wouldn't probably do as well running the ball against those big defenders where he does well with just running downhill because the offensive line is going to be clogged up. Those holes are clogged up. So it's a different approach to the game that you have to take into it, and who's going to get those carries is going to determine the kind of defense that you're going to face.
Awesome. That's a great, very in-depth actual answer. Wasn't expecting a guy. I look at Zach Moss, and he kind of reminds me. I'm not saying they're the same player by any means. No player is the same player as another player in the NFL, but his running style reminds me of a lot of Frank Gore, right? Kind of downhill, finds that little sliver of light, and somehow finds a way to hit it and get positive yards out of that situation. Right. That's the kind of running back I see from Zach Moss. Yeah.
I'll give you that. Frank Gore is a. I mean, that's a.
As I say, I'm not saying they're the same guy. Similar style.
Yeah. I think the vision's there. I think Frank Gore was a special guy that he could see it and he could just hit it and go. But when you want to make a comparison to a guy that like when you're looking at type of running back or style of back, I think that is a good comparison. As far, especially reading inside zone, it's an art to that. Like that was my baby right there. Inside zone, I love inside zone. I love to get moving on double teams, get guys moving, get up to the linebackers, securing the line of scrimmage. And really, it's make one read and make one guy miss, and you're out the gate. Especially if it's ran the correct way up front, So I think that's a great comparison when you're looking at style of running back for Zach Moss. Yeah.
Another question we had was Cryovix. He says, "I'm interested to hear, and I am as well, by the way. Interested to hear how much verbal communication happens at the line before the snap compared to how much of it is just knowing where your block is before the snap."
It's huge, right? So we go into a game, or when you learn different plays and runs, you have to learn the run. Okay, so let's just say inside zone, for example. Basic, everybody runs it from grade school all the way up to the pros. Inside zone is ran, between the tackles. It's, double teams on the front side at some point, whether it's between the guard and the tackle, the center and the guard on the front side, or the backside guard and the center, or the backside guard and tackle, however you want to block it up. But you learn it, against a 4-3 defense. You learn it against a 4-4 defense. You have to learn against a 3-4 defense, a 4-2 defense. So there's like 5 to 6 variations that you have to learn how to block that one particular run-up or any run-up against a defense. So when we go into a game, we know it's 4-3, right? We know we're facing a 4-3 team. Now, whether when we turn around and we call the play, we're going to line of scrimmage, they line up in a 4-3 under or 4-3 over. It depends on how we're going to call it. I could go from it being a 4-3 over and I'm playing right guard and we're running the ball to the right and I have a 3 technique on me and I know I got him by myself. The block is I have him by myself, as opposed to if they run a 4-3 under, which means that the 3 technique is on the backside of it to the weak side, right? Now I'm the guard on it, and I'm going to have a 2-eye, which means that my inside shoulder is covered, right? So now that dictates that the center is working with me up to the linebacker. So when you have to hear those things, sometimes it's a variation of it, or they might shift during the line, like while the quarterback's in his cadence. Requires us to talk to each other so that we all know what we're doing. It could go from a single block to an A, or from a single block to a to a chip, whatever the call is. Every team has their different lingo, so it's very, very, very verbal. I think the game has done a great job of miking guys up so you can kind of hear guys talking, even though if you don't really fully understand line play, you don't know what they're saying. You just hear a whole bunch of, 52's a mic, skip, scrape, or single, or A, B, or, deuce, or whatever it is. But we have to say those things. And I was always the type that I was like, man, I don't care if they know what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop it. Now, when you're working with your guard and your tackle and you guys get really good together, we'll make dummy calls. We'll make dummy calls just to fool the defense, and we'll over communicate. And we might say deuce, back, 52 or whatever. Make them think we're running a double team, that 3 technique with the guard and the tackle. So he hunkers down, but we're running outside zone. We're out the gate. So now he hunkered down a little bit, and we're running right around him, and I get him reached or something like that. And it's, foolery, trickery with inside of the game. But there's a ton of communication. You have to communicate with, starts from the center, and we relay it down, and then the guard and the tackle have got to talk, because there's ways you even communicate blocks. And I could go into that for an hour. And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, because I know that we have a lot to cover. But yes, you have to communicate a lot. It's so key. I coach 5th and 6th grade travel football for my son's team, and I tell those guys, like, listen, you guys have got to talk. You've got to talk. You've got to communicate. I don't care if they know it's coming. Make them stop it. But you guys have got to be on the same page, because if you're not, the play starts up front. So if we fumble anything that we're doing, the play's dead in the water before it can even start. It might be a good play with the matchup we really want, but we didn't communicate on the front end of it, if you know what I'm saying.
So there's like when you're playing and you like a safety starts to creep down, or a linebacker kind of swings out or something of that nature, there's a lot of communication, making sure everybody sees that as well, right?
Yeah. So like, let's just say, for example, we're running outside zone, and the safety creeps down late front side. Well, that we have to, re-identify who the Mike linebacker is now, because now technically that safety becomes the Sam, the strong side linebacker, right? And so now who was the Sam becomes the Mike, right? Because now he's the second guy in the box. The Mike becomes the Will, the weak side linebacker, and then the backside linebacker, we're either disregarding, we're not going to count him because we're running to that front side, right? Or we're saying he's got to take, the slot or the number 2 receiver in coverage, because they're rolling the safety down so that safety can't cover, saying he can't stay over the top of the number 2 receiver. So we're just going to disregard him, or we can't run it to that way. We might flip the play completely. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So much communication that goes into the pre-snap read, what goes on during the cadence. We might re-ID it on the fly, and guys just have to be in tune with each other. So there's so many different things that happen before the snap of the football, and you have to be quick with it to respond and make the right decision. And, your steps got to be right and everything.
So something that I see a lot on film, and it impresses me every time I see it's done smoothly, because sometimes it's not smooth. But when you see a double team, mm-hmm. and then one of the guys just hands off and walks into the second level, mm-hmm. and gets his hands on a linebacker or a safety, right, yep. to create that extra running space, yeah. for whoever it is when that works beautifully, mm-hmm. it's just like you said, it's poetry in motion. It's just like, wow, that. But is that something that is play design? Or is that more, or does that happen a lot by feel as well?
Yeah, so it's play design and feel. When we're working in unison, you have to. So, for example, if we're running zone, or let's just say we're running power, mm-hmm. and that front side is a double team between the guard and the tackle. Well, I have to take half of the man. The tackle has to take half the man. We got to get movement. The guy who comes off to the linebacker, it all depends on where the linebacker is and how he scrapes. If he scrapes over the top, which means if he gets over the 3 technique, that tackle's going to take him, because now he's on the tackle side. If he stays underneath and tries to undershoot it, then I got to come off as a guard, and the tackle's got to take over the down guy, right? And so it's no different from zone, right? When we're running inside zone or outside zone, I'm getting half. The guard's getting, the tackle's getting half, or the guard, me, I'm getting half. The center's getting half. We're working in unison together, and it's just a feel thing. That's why training camp is so important. That's why practice is so important. OTA is so important, so you can get the feel for it. And then you also have to understand this. You have to understand. You have to know. As an offensive lineman, what's the action of the back in the backfield? It's very key. There's steps, right? So if it's, if we're running, power to the left, I know that running back is going to take a hard jab step to his right and come back to the left to get the football. Well, what is that going to do to the linebackers? It's going to freeze them for a second. It's going to make them do this real quick. They're mirroring the back, right? And then they're going to shoot this way. So I know from a standpoint of the offensive lineman that I got a little bit of extra time if they don't sniff it out right away, right? So that we can get up on them if we get moving on this double team, as opposed to outside zone. And I know right away all the running back's doing is he's getting the ball and he's out the front gate. Well, there's not a lot of, hesitation by linebackers. They're going to, for 1 second, see it and they're gone. So, like, I'll see, for example, if I'm on the front side or if I'm on the back side and I got a 3 technique with me with a tackle and we're zoning up to that backside linebacker and he's tucked all the way backside, I know how much time I have, even if he runs right away because he's tucked far back. So I can tell my tackle, like, hey, we're thick on this right now, meaning that I'm going to give you a lot of help on this backside so you can get up underneath it because this linebacker is so far back. He starts creeping. Now that dictates how much I can help him. It might go from an arm and a shoulder into him. You really get him rocked to get his shoulders turned so I can get up to the line of scrimmage or I get up to the linebackers. It might go from that to, hey, and I'll just tell him quick, or I got to go. Like, and it'll go from just me giving him a hand like this to secure him so I can ricochet off of him so I can get up to that backer because that backer's flying out of the picture. And you can't be running behind them because you're not going to do no good running behind them, or you're going to get called for blocking the back or clipping in the back or whatever it is. So there's so much that goes into learning the game and learning angles. I tell them all the time, football is nothing but geometry. It's physical geometry. And if you can understand that, you're better off. But it's all about experience and how well you can be taught that. I was taught that, right? And then I got the feel for it, and as I got more comfortable with playing football, and luckily I had, good tackles with me with Costanzo and Vernon Carey and guys like that I played with in my career. Guys that are careless, seasoned guys that understood that if I said your name, like I would say, hey, Anthony, he understood what I was talking about. He'd be like, yep, because he saw it too. Right. And he knows I'm not giving you a lot of help. I'm going to give you this stiff hand right here. And that's going to be enough for me to ricochet off of his shoulder. That's going to be enough for you to get up under it, to get that 3 technique cut off from the backside so he doesn't run the play down. And I can get on that angle, a proper angle to the linebacker. So it's just all about understanding the game and just being more seasoned into it.
So one last question when it pertains to blocking and communication for the most part. Something that you see a lot from defensive lines, especially when they're just running a four-man front and they're not sending extra guys, is you'll see a lot of twists and stunts, right? Now, there's got to be damn good communication across the offensive line to be able to pick something like that up, right? I mean, how does that go down?
So during the week, we get the scouting report and we understand, like, we get blitz percentages on downs and distances. We get twist percentages on downs and distances, and you got to know when it's coming. Like, you just have to know. It's one thing to respond to it, but if both the guard and the tackle, or the guard and the center, or the inside interior 3 aren't aware or aren't ready for it, it makes the twist game that much harder. Things you have to pick up on. If I'm at guard and the whole time, the D tackle, if I'm at left guard, the D tackle always has his right foot back and his right hand down, right? That's a normal stance, right? And now all of a sudden it's 3rd and 7, and his left hand is down, his left foot is back. Something's up. He's angling somewhere, right? He's turned in a little bit, or he's turned out a little bit, from a 2-eye on my inside shoulder. He's turned out and he's kind of pointed at the tackle. Something's up. Or that tackle's a little bit tighter. Something's up. And that 3 technique is a little bit further back. Something's up. Because now they got a twist. So if they're running a TE, which means a tackle in twist, right? The tackle goes first, the end loops around. that tackle, that defense tackle, he's trying to ear hold the offensive tackle. So that's why he's angling across my face, right? Mm-hmm. So I got to see that, right? Pick it up. I can't sink back now at this point. I have to actually step up, punch him over to the tackle. The tackle's got to understand that sink back and in, so that when I punch the three technique over to him, he can collect them. And then once I punch him over, I sink back and receive the end coming around. Now, when there's a twist that's effective, is when guys don't see that, and you'll typically see this. And so remember this, guys, when you guys watch a line stunt happen, it's usually the guard or the tackle doesn't pick off the guy who is attacking and trying to create that separation. He's trying to pick them. They say pick the guard's hip or pick the tackle's hip. All he's trying to do is if he beats the guard across his face and he picks that tackle's hip and gets the tackle turn, well, now as the guard, I'm chasing behind the three technique, right? So now my back is turned this way. The tackle's turned into me. We're looking at each other almost. The three technique split us. He's in between us to get to the quarterback and end runs around free, because now, remember, my back is turned this way. Here comes the end. I can't even get him. It's too late. There's the quarterback. So the key is sink back, know that the twist is coming, punch. Don't allow your tackle or your guard, whichever one you're playing, to get his hip picked, right? Have him collect, sink back again, and see whoever the looper is. So it's very important to be on the same page when it comes to that.
Absolutely. Do you guys ever have like silent like notifications to let each other know, hey, I think this is getting ready to happen? I'm not asking for you gotta be like, this means this, or
No, like, so it really comes down to being a professional, really comes down to just understanding what a possibility is on this down and distance. There's so much that goes into it. It's not just us running a play. You have to understand the as a player, you got to understand the thought process of the defensive coordinator and his style, right? He might not be a heavy blitz guy, but he might be a heavy twist guy, right? So you got to understand like what's up. So there's really like sometimes we'll be like, hey, like why we break the huddle, like watch the twist, right? Like watch the twist, or like I might see it, I might pick up on that little indicator of like his stance to switch, and I might call out to my tackle, hey, watch it, like something like that. I won't be like, hey, tackle in twist or TE stunt. Watch TE stunt, you know what I mean? Like, but we'll just, because like then like you don't want to show your hand as well too, because if they can audible out of it. Yeah. Defense is more freestyle, right? Like the TE is called, but like you got to watch it. Like you see a fake TE stunt. You ever seen one of those before, where they called it out and they took the TE off, and what happened? The defensive tackle, he stood up and he gave like a little shake like this, like he was like. So what they do is the three technique. If the guard's going to get picked, the three technique won't rush as hard. What he'll do is he'll stand up, he'll jump up, and he'll pause like this, and he's trying to get the guard's attention to be like, "What are you doing?" And then boom, here comes the defensive end and pick your hip. So what happened was a good guard, right? If you see it, you see him do that, and instantly you turn out to receive that incoming. Well, they didn't run the twist. They faked them out. So what happened was the defense tackle went like this. The guard went like, he paused for a second, turned to the end, nothing. And the tackle ran right past him and got a sack. So you got to play it true at the same time, right? You got to play it straight up and true, because you can get burnt by over communication or overthinking something is going to happen. Football is all about knowing and being prepared for, not expecting, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's how I always teach my guys, like, don't expect this to happen. They don't have to do it. Be ready for it, though. Always be alert, but don't think that they're going to do it at this given time, because that's not how this game is. It's chess. It's a chess move, right? It's a mental game. If I can fake you out as much as I can, that's what I'm going to do until it's time where I really got to get it. So you can't just go in expecting it to happen. Know that this possibility, hey, it's a 56% chance on 3rd and 7 that the TE or the ET's coming. Be ready for it. Or this is a heavy blitz team, right? Like they might run a Pirate O stunt, right? With 2-2 and around on the other side, wrap it around. Be ready for it. But don't expect it to happen on this play. They don't have to show it. It might be the fourth quarter to win the football game, and they load you to sleep all game. They didn't run no twist this game. Boom, here it comes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's one of those things, man. I start sweating. I get fired up, man. I feel like I'm back in the film room right now. It's fun.
if a defense is running an overload blitz, who's priority?
So the widest guy is the guy that's going to be the free hitter, right? So we're going to slide as far wide as we possibly can, right? But we're not going to let anybody inside just get a free rush on the quarterback.
Okay.
So if
you got a middle linebacker and say an safety on the outside coming, you're letting the safety go.
Safety, he's got the longest way to go.
Okay.
So it's all
if you see a blitz like that and you have a free runner and a linebacker, free runner coming up the gut.
No,
it was a breakdown.
1,000%.
Okay.
Whether it was the running back that then scanned back from his side back to pick up that middle blitzer, because we can't pick up everybody from on the offensive line standpoint.
Yeah.
There's a slide on, right? Like if we're sliding somewhere, like we're sliding, we fan it on the back side or for the front side, we see you got, a 3 technique, you got an outside linebacker, you got a 5 technique, and you got an outside linebacker, and the center's uncovered. We're going to slide that protection that way. And now if that will or somebody blitz up the middle, well, the running back, if he's in protection, he's got to scan from inside to out, right? So if he looks out and forgets about that will, and that will blitzes, that's a breakdown. That's the running back's fault, right? If it's an overload blitz of some sort and they put another guy outside of that, well, hell, that outside guy, he's got to make a play. If he beats us on that, he beats us on that. Now, if the will doesn't come and the outside guy doesn't come on the backside, hopefully our running back can scan, and kind of save the day at the last second to relieve a hit off the quarterback. But like I said, you can't blitzes. We're bringing one more than you can handle, for the most part. Or we're bringing 5, and you got to block 5. But if we bring 5, we're trying to confuse you with some type of twist or the mic or somebody getting in there, wiggling in there, and so you just got to be alert for all that stuff.
Absolutely. Kind of got keep your head on a swivel, right? I've always said that. You got even offensive linemen even have to have their head on a swivel, man.
Oh yeah,
you got to be paying attention. You can't be locked. You might be attached to somebody, locked in with them, but you got to pay attention and make sure that over here, right, somebody's not coming in around on the edge, because you don't want them having a free shot either.
Right, you don't.
What's going on, right?
Yep.
I've always been the thought process, if you've already got someone stonewalled up and you've got a free runner coming through, to me, if you know he's free, there's no one to block him. It'd take longer for the guy that you've already got your hands on, if you let him go, that blocker, to get back to the quarterback than it would if you just held on to the guy. So I don't understand that, where I see that all the time.
Wait, say that one more time. I was following you. I think I was saying.
So you got a blitzer.
Mm-hmm.
No, nobody is able to pick him up, and you're already locked in. It's a delayed blitz, right?
Oh, okay,
yeah. A delayed blitz, and you're already locked in on a block. You
don't drop him. You do not drop him, because you have an assignment to do, right? So as much as if at guard, right? If it's man protection and there's a 5 down look where they got 5 down guys and everybody's locked up on somebody, and that Mike blitzes, and I'm blocking my 3 technique, and I see that Mike coming, I can't drop this guy to take the Mike, right? Like, somebody else has got to step up and block him, whether it's the running back or we just have to throw hot. Like, there's hots built in, right? There's hot routes built in. Like, literally, you'll hear quarterbacks say, I got to throw the hot on this because we don't have enough to block this. But you can't, once you're engaged with somebody, unless you get bumped off by your center or by your guard, you have that guy all the way. And
someone comes in and engages with you, then you can move off.
Yeah, so for example, like this, right? So if we're running man protection means that we're responsible for the 4 down lineman plus the Mike, right? 4 down Mike plus 1, which means this. Plus 1 means this. Our primary responsibility is the 4 down, whoever the Mike declaration is. It's going to be to the front side of it. So let's just say it's 64 protection. 64 protection means that the front side of it is 4, right, is the even side, right? So that we're going to put the Mike to the right side. That means the running back is going to line up on the left side of the quarterback. He's got the weak side. He's got the will plus 1, right? So he's got the will, and anything else like safety blitz or corner blitzes, if that will doesn't come, he's got to scan back, pick up that corner or outside blitz off the edge. Front side is we're taking care of the 2 down guys on our side plus the Mike linebacker. So typically in a 4-3, the uncovered guy, for the most part, if it's like a 4-3 over, right, is going to be that center. So he's going to make a call where he's going to say 55 is the Mike, and he might make a call like Rock or Ray or Ram or something like that, something with an R, right, alerting you that I'm working to the right. The Mike's to the right. Now, if that Mike were to insert into the B gap, in the 3 technique is lined up in the B gap and he angles into the A gap, that center, we're tracking the Mike. That center is going to see the Mike blitzing and start screaming, go, 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 go. He's going to physically bump me off of him so I can take the Mike. Now, if the center doesn't say a word, he doesn't see it, and I see it, I can't drop the 3 technique because I don't know if the center is fell, tripped, went the other way. I don't know what he's doing because I'm engaged with the 3. Although I see the Mike blitzing, I can't do anything about it. Or if I see him blitzing over this way and he goes inside and I feel no one bump me off, I can't drop him. But now the center's got to see that, go, 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 boom. And then I trigger the bump off and I take the Mike. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Or if that Mike were to blitz all the way around the tackle, now we both got to see it. It's a go call from the center. I bump off, go, go, go to the tackle. I take the defensive end. He takes the Mike. You know what I mean? So it's all a thing where you can't leave until you're bumped off. Period. It's cardinal rule across the board for all offensive line play. You have got to be bumped off before you drop who you're engaged with.
Okay. All right. It makes sense, right? Because you don't know what everybody else is doing at the same time. Right. So, that makes 100%. Even though when you're seeing a free runner going right beside you, you'd be like, damn.
It's very unsettling, but you have to trust that guys are doing things the right way. Because sometimes the center might make a pop call, and all that means is like the Mike is more head up to where he can't give you a Ray or a lion call or something where he's telling you which way he's going. He'll say pop. And the pop call means I'm sinking back and I'm tracking the Mike. So if the Mike, he's right in the middle, if he goes to the left, but the protection strength is to the right, I got to go to the left because our responsibility, again, remember, is 4 down plus the Mike, which also alerts the backside guard that you're just not manned up on this 2-eye or this 3 technique. If it's like a nickel defense, you have to be aware that the center could possibly come your way, and you got to be ready to be bumped off as well. Just because you're on the back side of it doesn't mean you're all by yourself, just locked up on this guy, right? So it takes a lot of practice and repetition to get this thing right where guys don't leak through. And typically when you see guys leak through and they start doing their sack dance, I'm like, show me the replay. And I'm like, dang, he missed it. But you'll see the offensive line see it, but it's just too late, or they just get confused. And I'm like, I wish I could get back in there, but I know I physically can't. But like, it's hard. It's hard. You might say this guy sucks. It's like, nah, man, these coaches, these coordinators, they do this to confuse you. Like, they're not going to just run the Mike in the A gap every time. He's going to get picked up every single time. There's got to be something where we confuse the 5 guys up front so we can get a free hitter in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a cat and mouse game.
I mean, there's multiple. There's reasons why you see linebackers creep up as it snaps and then fall back, right? Or you see all the line. I love it when defensive coordinators set it up where you got 7 standing men at the line of scrimmage.
Right? Everybody's not coming. You like especially like when they mug up the 2 linebackers in the A gaps. Mm-hmm. It's either one's coming or none's coming. They're not going to rush the 2 because in the middle of the field's wide open. I'm going to throw the slant right away. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no one in the middle of the field. I'm throwing a slant. Like, we're going to check to that slant real quick, and I'm going to get 7 to 10 yards every time.
I feel like a defensive coordinator does that mostly just to confuse the block.
Well, yeah. So, for example, like if it's man protection and I walk that Mike up into the A gap, right, and the guard is uncovered, or he's covered, or he's uncovered, whatever it is, like, and if he's under center or something like that, like. We have stuff in there where we'll pat our butt, right? And which means it's a hard call, which means the guard's going to step down and take that Mike that's directly in the A gap, because if no one blocks him, or that Will is directly in the A gap, no one blocks him, then he has a free runner right to the quarterback right away, and he can't get the ball off. So what they'll do is they'll walk him up to bait the guard into stepping down hard into the A gap. He doesn't come, but now the running back has to step up and block the 3 technique that he's dropping, right? But now he realizes that he's not coming, tries to get back, and then the other linebacker comes, and it's like, oh, I'm caught in no man's land, and they get pressure on the quarterback. So it's all it's all by design. It's all, they're taught to confuse you from the line of scrimmage to get you to try to do something. And really, like realistically, like you have got to be smarter than the defense sometimes, or understand like they can't blitz right now. Like we've got 3 receiver side right here. Someone's got to cover this tight end in coverage. I know he can't come because if he blitzes, tight end's wide open or the middle field's wide open. So you have to know these things. That's why film is so important, and then knowing defensive tendencies is so important. You know, and then even watching and really like looking at, I'm talking about, like I would get so into it. I'm looking at how heavy they are in their stance. Like, are they really coming or not? Like, I'm looking at how tense you are, right? Like, is he really coming or is he back a little bit? He's just standing there. He's going to drop back as soon as we snap the ball.
That back foot.
Yeah, you got to watch everything. Mm-hmm. You got to watch everything.
Yep. So we're going to end this episode. I'm going to have we're going to discuss one quick thing about when to run, when not to run, right? And what I'm talking about is it comes up a lot over this past game with the Colts and Jaguars, where, you know, and I'm not even going to discuss what time it is, you know, how much clock is left or what the score is. We're going to talk man on man defense, box versus, you know, blockers.
Mm-hmm.
You got hats, you got defenders, right? At what point do you need to audible out of a run call when you're outnumbered in the box? Like, you know what I'm saying? I hear this all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, we only have our base offensive line on there, and there's 7 guys in the box. We have to audible out and go into a pass play.
Well,
or we're only in base formation. We're in 11 personnel. We only have the 1 tight end there, and there's 7 guys in the box or 8 guys in the box. We got to audible out. I've always been of the assumption, and how I played in high school was base formation versus base formation is even match. When you got 11 personnel and you got your base formation defense of 4-3 or 3-4 sitting out there, that's an even matchup for running or not running.
Yeah.
That's how I was raised playing football. Now I'm out here seeing, oh, well, they've got 7 guys in the box and we only have, you know, 4 or we only have 5 or 6 hats for blockers. We got to get out of this. And to me, that's some soft ass football play right there.
So, you know, 7 in the box is standard. 7 in the box is standard to run against when you have more than just 5 offensive linemen blocking. When your tight end is in the game, 7 in the box is fair game. We got 6 for 7. It's no different from when you look at it from that, the aspect or the thought process of picking up a blitz, right? If they have more than we can block, then God bless them. That guy's got to make a play. Mm-hmm. So you'll see, for example, we'll run a play in the 7 in the box, and we'll book what we say book, which means that we're going to disregard this backside guy. We're running away from him. We're booking him. So it might be that backside end. And you see it all the time, right? Like the defense, we're reading it. If it's RPO, we're gonna pull it. If he baits on the to take the end, or if he reads the quarterback, we're giving it. So there's always one guy you're not blocking because you got to get guys to the front side to the dominant side of the run. If you don't have a tight end in the game, 7 in the box is a little hard to run to because you only got 5 guys, right? And so now you got 2 free hitters. It's bad football. But if
the tight end's in the game and he's split out wide, you can always just pull him back in, right?
You'll see him motion him in, right? Or sometimes you'll see him put him in motion and split him out just to get that 7th guy out of the box.
Yeah.
So we
But
can.
if the guy don't go out of the box, wouldn't you just bring the tight end back in?
Yeah, well, you see that, right? You'll see it. A check, like we have built-in checks to it. But typically, like when you start to load the box, when you hear about 8 in the box, like you hear the safeties walking down, and basically the safeties playing basically linebacker level. Well, that's you can't. I mean, that's hard to run eight to the box. Now, when I was in Miami, we had a tight end on the field and we had a fullback, so we could handle 8 in the box. And they knew that we had a double-headed monster with Ricky and Ronnie. So, guys are going to load the box up and make us throw the football. And then that's how we made some hay in the passing game. So it's all about personnel. 8 in the box with 1 tight end's bad football. 8 in the box with, 2 tight ends, we can play ball. Or 8 in the box with the tight end and the fullback, we're good, right? But once you get outflanked by that much, it's hard to actually get yards in the run game when you're just out leveraged like that. You're out leveraged. You got to check it to a run to a pass or just get out of it, or take what you can get with a different type of run. But you can't just think you're mightier than thou and just run into the teeth of the defense and you don't have the guys for it.
It's like, and I see that, like when you're running 12 personnel, you got 2 tight ends on the field and a safety comes rolling up and you got 8 in the box. That's still even matchup, right? I mean, that's still good. As long as you got guys there. Now, obviously, look, I love the way Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman are able to block. I am not going to bring them up as a tight end, though. I mean, I'm not going. I've seen him do it. I've seen both those guys like block out middle linebackers or defensive ends or something, on a stretch play or something.
Right.
Where you're just getting in the way, and making them stutter a little bit.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm good with that. Obviously, I don't want a wide receiver coming in on a power play though, especially in their direction. Maybe bring him in as you were talking about earlier. Maybe the outside guy when you're running the go away route, away from the guy, and just get him to, just kind of get him in the way so that he has to kind of step around him and slow him down some.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, but I'm just so sick of people saying you cannot run with 7 or 8 in the box. And I'm like, you can. It's traditional football. Just depends if you got 11 personnel or 12 personnel. Obviously, if you got 10 personnel, no, I wouldn't run against 7. I wouldn't run against your base defense. No, that's asking an awful damn lot from me. Offensive line. 5 guys against 7's rough.
100%. You just have to have the right personnel to run into the different looks the defense gives you. And at the end of the day, that's predicated on the personnel you're in and understanding the defense they're going to be in, and then just kind of trying to take advantage of it. You can't. If you can run against it, you can. If you can't, you can't. But 7 in the box is standard. 8 in the box is stacking the box, and you better have the right personnel for it. You better have at least 2 tight end set, or a tight end and a fullback, or some sort of whatever you want to call it, super back, up back, saying two backs in the backfield. The one's lead blocking, they can block. You better have that situation going on, because if not, then you're playing bad ball, as they said.
Can you run, say, a jet sweep off of like 8 in the box?
Yeah, that's probably one of the main things that you could do. You just gotta, if you're outflanked already to that side you're running to, though, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Maybe bring him over and flip the play then.
Yeah, you see that all the time. You'll see, guys get put in motion going right, and then we'll run out the back door to the left, just so we can get the linebackers to bump over just a little bit, because angles are key, and we get yards that way. But that only works a couple times. Right? You'll move and
but it's something in your arsenal that you could pop off occasionally.
Yeah, it's not like every play kind of deal, right? So you just got to be smart. It's all about being smart up front, and the coordinator and the quarterback understanding the situation.
Well, Donald, I really appreciate you sitting here and just giving us the knowledge that you've learned over your time. playing the position and being an offensive lineman. It really helps me out a lot as well, kind of seeing things. And those of you watching, again, if we did not cover something, and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we did not cover, because there's a ton of things you could talk about when it comes to offensive line. Drop a question. If Donald likes your questions, I'm sure he'll give it an answer. And if he doesn't, and I like it, I might even, and I got a decent answer, I'll pop it. And then if it's wrong, Donald will be like, "What the hell are you saying?"
Right. Yeah.
Under my comment. So, but hey, I appreciate it again. We're going to do a lot more of this. Hopefully, we'll be doing some live streams at some point. We've been talking about. We just got to find the right timing.
Yeah.
Because, busy people. But appreciate each and every one of you. If you're listening to this on an audio podcast, make sure you leave a review. If you're watching this on YouTube, please smash that like button and hit subscribe and share it to your favorite social media. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Donald Thomas. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, go Colts.
Go Colts, baby.
Do you believe?